All right, Dominica, good afternoon to you and welcome. Welcome to the Talk on the Block. If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. And before we introduce our guest, no stranger, but it's not too often you see him on the other side of the microphone. But he's here this afternoon all the same. We're going to take a break and we'll come right back. Right back.
Digicel. 20 years. Celebrate, connect, and win 20 years with Digicel. Celebrating relentless connectivity across Dominica, and we're giving back to you with more prizes and surprises.
Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you have plenty. 20 years we rolling with Digicel. If you're not with us, then hear me well. I have my TV and still have my cell. I have my internet all from Digicel. 20 years of reconnection. So pay attention.
Win with the right ultimate VIP experiences. Brunch voucher, 6 months, bill free. Win more. Simple. Activate, switch, stay connected. Win. Visit your nearest Digicel store or speak to an agent today.
2020, digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you are plenty. I say with Digi you can win. Celebrate, connect and win.
It's about to change hands in Dominica. Jimmet, it's your turn. The United Progressive Party, alongside political leader attorney Joshua Francis and solid playmaker Loftus Dumont. Solid lineup of speakers will be at Esprit's Drive near the Convenient Plus Shopping Center, Thursday the 14th. Jimmet comes alive from 7 p.m. to hear the plans and look for a better Dominica, a better you, the United Progressive Party, the party of the people, by the people, for the people. Come out, Dominicans, join the forces with the United Progressive Party as we help rescue and restore, even bring back Dominica from the brink of destruction. 7 p.m. on Esprit's Drive near the Convenient Plus store. Everyone will be in attendance. Don't miss your moment. Thursday coming, power must change hands. The power is in your hands. All the way with the UPP massive whistle stop from Jimmy Thursday the 14th.
I'm not giving up. Today I never give up before.
Need one trusted place to stock up for your home, shop, or business? Fine Foods Inc. Distribution has got you covered. From dry goods and frozen foods to your favorite drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, plus all the household must-have. We've got it all under one roof. We're right here in Jimmy Dominica, and yet we deliver Whether you're running a supermarket, a corner shop, a bar, or just like your pantry full and happy, Fine Foods Inc. brings you the best brands you know and love. Great prices, top tier service, trusted products. Call us at 255-6810 or 316-0164 or drop by our Jimmet location to check out what's in store. Fine Foods Inc.
Fine Foods Inc., the biggest distributor for the biggest brand.
You know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunblast juices, Toffee snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Dominica, good afternoon to you, and welcome again to Talk on the Block. If it's on the block, then we'll talk about it. This afternoon here, I have Mr. Loftus Duran. What cap or what hat does he wear this afternoon? I'm sure you'll find out. He's the host of Civic Vibes, and at times he's silent for me on a number of occasions there on the hot seat and Talk on the Block. So he's no stranger to the Q95 microphone. But this afternoon, I'm going to give him the hat of the Public Relations Officer of the United Progressive Party. I just want to find out what's going on the ground. There's a big meeting planned for tonight. Is that party making any headway? I'm sure you have your own questions, but he's here to speak to the vision of the United Progressive Party. Let me start this afternoon by asking him a question that's been circulating since morning. One former political party leader said he's sort of disappointed that people are not going to, or the confirmation process is a trickle, and he foresee problems if this continues. Loftus Duran, good afternoon to you. How are you doing, sir? How are you?
Matthias Belty, good afternoon to you, my brother. It's always a pleasure to be in your company whenever that time comes around. And let me say special greetings and welcome to all your listeners far and wide, because we know with Q, then there's lots and loads of people always tuned in for your different programs. So yes, I appreciate the opportunity and welcoming.
Welcome again, Lofty. Welcome. As I said, we're just going to, take the first ball. It's going to be a quick one, but I'm sure you're quite competent to answer this one. Are you satisfied with the progress of the confirmation process thus far?
Matt, let me just say straight off the bat, I'm speaking this afternoon as the PRO, that's the Public Relations Officer of the newest party in Dominica, but by no means the least of parties in Dominica in terms of performance on the ground. That is the United Progressive Party, where Mr. Joshua Francis, attorney at law, is the leader of that party. I am the public relations officer, as I said. And we have an executive and also members both here and abroad. So I want to say good afternoon to each and every one of you guys out there. It's a pleasure working with you guys, working on the ground each and every day. Matt, in terms of the question that you ask, let me just say straight off the bat that we at the United Progressive Party believe that that problem could have been solved by if we had engaged ourselves in what a number of people believe to be a total re-registration. What you asked me there, you couldn't have been asking me that if we had gone down that road or that route of a total re-registration. And so we are of the opinion that whatever is happening today.
But do you think that would have made a difference?
It would. Because everybody would have come clean on that slate, as it were. That old bloated list would have been wiped out. And if you want to become part and parcel of the political process moving forward, then you'd show yourself. And I believe there will be much more confidence in that system when I go on the ground. And I was just in the ground in Jimette talking to a number of people, trying to promote the meeting for tonight. That's the public meeting. A lot of people keep telling me and keep telling us that, hey, they have very little confidence in the system. Matter of fact, the last I heard this afternoon was an elderly lady. She told me, Lofty, when I asked her the question, are you confirmed? She told me, Lofty, I have no appetite to confirm. I asked her why. She told me, well, I made confirmation as a young child, and there's no need to do that anymore. And I really had to sort of jolt her in that direction of getting confirmed, because at the end of the day, if we are not on that list, then it is very likely that we will not get the opportunity whenever that presents itself to make that political choice, and that is to change the regime that is in Dominica.
You know, you said that, and I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he said, well, isn't that the same, one and the same, in terms of confirmation and, going back and with a clean slate?
No, Matthias Belty, no. That is not the same. And that person, whoever that person is, I forgive them for not understanding the matter at hand or being willfully spiteful. A total re-registration would mean, as I said before, that old bloated list that we have been using, it would have been done away with, as it were. And Matthias Peltier, Loftus Durant, John Doe, Paul Brown would have to present themselves from the scratch to be on that list. Whatever the details that would be required would come. But using that old list, trying to work around or work with that old list by allowing persons to remain on that list and basically allowing these persons now to sort of come forth, make themselves clean, and jolly well, there are other people who are still on that list who are not qualified to be on that list. That is a total mess. That is a mockery of, as my brother said, gypsy of democracy. And so I am of the opinion, and I'm not speaking for the United Progressive Party now, based on what I'm going to say next. I am of the opinion that was calculated, and that is by design.
You think so?
I think so. Because we have been clamoring for that re-registration like Antigua did, like other countries did, like Jamaica did. And so we are now stuck with that old list and trying to make something out of it. As I said, whereby all we had to do was set it aside, put it aside, and let all Dominicans here and abroad, if they are so interested in being part of the political process moving forward, come clean. We would not have been in that situation today, whereby it's only after pretty close to a year now of that process, only 17,000 people have applied to that process in order to be confirmed.
And a few have gotten their IDs.
Matthias Belty, I spoke to some people who, as soon as the process started, they got confirmed, and they're still waiting on the system to get that card. A matter of fact, there is the testimony that I can tell the Dominican public right there, right now, in that a young lady, I give her a ride, and you're just talking, political matters. And she said, Lofty, I am up in age. And I have been there, done that. I'm pretty close to retirement. And based on what I've seen from this government in terms of its performance, I am not prepared to go down that road to confirm. I say, Miss, I hear you. I understand you. But at the end of the day, it is better to be prepared and not use that preparedness rather than not to be prepared and be willing to use your democratic rights. So I'm urging you. Please go get confirmed. And at the end of the day, if when that process comes around, that bell has rung, then you don't want to, then that's fine. But it would be really, really a headache, a heartache, as it were, for that bell to ring. And you would have a change of heart, a change of mind to want to exercise that right of yours. And because you did not go through the confirmation process, you would have been denied. That would have been lamentable. And lo and behold, she thought about it. And 3 days after, I got a call from this lady up in age. And she said, Lofty, you know something? Thank you. I've been mulling over what you said. And I can tell you, I have my receipt in my hand and I'm waiting for my card. I said, Miss, I applaud you very much.
Have you gotten your card?
No, up till now. I just have a receipt waiting for a card. Like a number of people out there.
I think the Prime Minister said in a few weeks you might get that card. Are you that optimistic?
Well, Matt, you have to know somebody by their... The good book says you have to know the tree by the fruits it produces. And nothing that the man who sits in the chair of Prime Minister says, I don't take it to heart. I take it with 3 grains of salt. Because I've gone down that road before, and I know what comes off from his mouth, and it's just sad.
Given the numbers presented by the former United Workers' Party leader, Lennox Linton, it's disturbing. Let's listen for a minute there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dominica, listen up. So far, 7 months into the 12-month period of confirmation, 16,000 of the 73,000 persons whose names are on the voters list have applied to confirm their voter registration. According to the rule of our new election law, persons who do not confirm their voter registration by October 14, 2026, for whatever reason, will have their names removed from the voters list. 13,000 applications were received in the first 2 months of the confirmation period, and 3,000 in the next 5 months, an average of 600 per month for the last 5 months. 7,200 confirmation applications have been approved, meaning a backlog of 8,800, which it appears will be cleared at the rate of over 3,000 per month. In other words, by July, there should be no outstanding confirmation applications waiting to be approved. The issuance of ID cards to confirm voters is another matter. Let's stick to the voters list. The clean voters list that patriots have fought for over the past 2 decades. 73,000 persons are on the list to be cleaned. 41,000 voted in the 2019 elections. If we double the number of applications from 600 per month to 1,200 per month for the remaining 5 months of the confirmation period, we will have a voters list downsized by 51,000 to 22,000 voters, 19,000 less than those who actually voted in 2019. I asked the question, is this the electoral reform we were asking for? A voters list that does not truly reflect the voting population of Dominica? And going forward, do we really want to be electing government with only half of the number of persons who voted in 2019? Thousands of persons whose names will not be on the new voters list are dead, living overseas, or quite significantly, they're living right here in Dominica and have decided, out of confusion, frustration, or pure disinterest, that they will not confirm their voter registration. This is a mistake. We did not struggle to have a clean voters list through all these years for eligible voters to clean themselves from the list by not confirming their voter registration according to law. Your vote is your voice. Your vote is your choice. Your vote is your right. Your vote is your responsibility. It is your share of the power of the people that you should not cast aside. Confirm your voter registration. Do it today. Ensure your name is on the new voters list.
My concern about this voice note there, and it's clear that he's indicating that he's somewhat disappointed that people are not going to confirm. I asked the question earlier, Lofty, why are people staying away? The confusion, he said? Where's the confusion there?
Matt, part of the reason that yours truly have been getting at the ground when I speak to people is that, as Lennox Linton rightly said, and let me thank Lennox for being the man that he is, dealing with the numbers as it pertains to that confirmation process. Part of the reason is that people are just disinterested in the process. They are.
Well, it's your democratic right. Why would you run away from that?
Yes, it is a democratic right, but remember, Matt, that process did not just come around or come across yesterday. We remember the whole hullabaloo. Persons are presently, as we speak, before the court protesting for free and fair elections in Dominica, or to make the process freer and fairer. And so for a number of years, we have been up and down the streets, writing letters, having discussions, doing dialogues, whatever it takes to make that process a free and fair one, only to come out at the end of that very arduous exercise with what we have today, that is called the confirmation process. We are trying our very best as people on the ground to encourage people to participate in the process. But at the end of the day, Matt, it said, you can bring a horse to the water, you cannot force it to drink. And so even if we bawl our guts out and suggest or advise the people or the electorates that is to go get confirmed, if these persons are so not moved in that department, then they will not. Another situation that we found on the ground is that, for example, in the Warner area, I heard a brother call this morning and said the some officers will be in Warner on the 31st, I believe, basically pushing people through that process or helping aid the process. Warner, for example, as we speak, if persons have to confirm, go through that process, they have to go all the way to Maho. And when we're on the ground in Warner, that is one of the really striking situations that the persons are speaking out and saying loudly, hey, we are not prepared to leave our homes and go anywhere to confirm. And so I thank the electoral office for that facilitation, as it were. But at the end of the day, as I said before, and we'll stick to that, a complete re-registration of electors would have sufficed. That would have been the ideal thing. But having said that, so that is what we have, and that is what we have to operate with. And again, I am urging everyone, please, if you want to be on that list, as Lennox alluded to, and others, let us try our best to exercise that right and get confirmed. It's a process. Let us go through the process.
How much as a group is your group getting people to confirm? Are you doing a lot of work on the ground?
Well, Matt, whenever we go on the ground, we meet people, we dialogue with people, we ask them about their socio-economic situation, we ask them about the crime situation, we ask them about their daily lives. That is part of the political work that we do on the ground. And at the end, somewhere in that conversation, we usually ask them about whether they are confirmed, about the confirmation process. And we get a variety of answers. But it is our responsibility to encourage people, and that is what we have been doing. I know Joshua, myself, and others who are in this party, we have been doing our best, helping persons along the way to get them to the confirmation centers so that they can be part and parcel of the process.
Do you get, like I heard this morning, people suggesting that make this transactional, that they want money to go register or to go confirm? Do you get that on the ground too?
Well, we get that a lot on the ground as well. But at the end of the day, Matt, we have to understand where some of these people are coming from. In that politics of late, not just in Dominica, I must say, but I'm speaking in Dominican, I'm a Dominican, and I want to leave it at the Dominican's context. Politics have become very transactional, where the politicians in Dominica, especially the incumbent, they pay people for their votes. That's what it boils down to. And I am a witness to that. I've said it a number of times, and I will repeat it here again. On polling day in 2019, I saw with my very own eyes in the Roseau Valley, where I was canvassing the ground for Ronald Charles. I saw some of the political pundits / supporters of the Dominican Labour Party with brown paper bags in their hand. And basically what they were doing there, I saw, so I'm not saying it's alleged, I saw, they were basically giving people monies in brown paper bags after they have casted their ballots for and on behalf of the candidate for the Labour Party. That's what I saw.
Do you think anything has changed?
Nothing has changed. A matter of fact, if you ask me, it will get worse. So we have to be prepared for the worst. We have to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Okay, let's of course concentrate for the next few minutes on the UPP. How do you think you guys are doing on the ground as a party?
Well, Matthias Pelty, like everything in life, there's its challenges. So I'll be
honest,
very dishonest to come and say that everything is hunky dory on the ground. When we go, we get our fair share of chalet, as it were. We get our fair share of criticism, as it were. But at the end of the day, that should, and we are getting stronger as a result of this chalet and criticism that they talk about. Persons are saying, why a third political party? Persons are saying, go join another party. Persons are coming up with all sorts of different reasons as to why they don't want to hear a word that we want to say. But at the end of the day, we have a message to give, and we have been preaching that message loud and clear. And that will not deter us. As a matter of fact, that serves as a catalyst so that the work that we have to do for and on behalf of the people will continue. So yes, we have been getting mixed reactions on the ground. I must say though, that a number of people have been welcoming us in their homes. They are open to the idea of a new political party. They have been open to the idea of a new vibe, a new vision for Dominica with a new political party, be it joint or otherwise. And so that basically gives us the energy, the drive to continue the work that we have to do in Dominica.
And tonight you are at Jimit.
Yeah, we are Jimmy tonight. The work continues because at the end of the day, Matt, sometimes you hear people call your radio station and they talk a lot. But when come to turn this talk into action, they are far and few in between. So here is another opportunity to turn those talk into action by, you don't have to be a supporter, quote unquote, of the party. You don't have to be a supporter of Joshua Francis or Loftus or any one of the members of the UPP. You just have to be a supporter of Dominica. You have to be a supporter of the message of hope that we have brought. And we are prepared to continue to bring to the Dominican people. So we're in Jimmy tonight. That is close in the vicinity of the Convenience Plus area. We're inviting all and sundry. Once you are in that neck of the wood, come listen to what we have to say. It's not a matter of we pontificating to you. We are not speaking down to anybody. So please feel free. The mic is open. You will get an opportunity to speak your mind as a Dominican as to what is affecting you in one way, shape, or form.
What are your priority issues at this time as a party?
The economy, Matt. The economy, because when you go, if you step outside Q95 now, you will have somebody asking you for $5. No longer people asking you for $1 and $2, Matthias Pelty. It's $5 and up. So the economy is very tight. The economy is not buoyant. And so one of the messages of hope that the UPP is bringing is helping to fix that economy in the interest or the betterment rather of Dominicans. And so we're on the ground. We are hearing the plight of the people, the suffering people. Ends cannot meet. Money cannot meet money. They are working, but they're working poor. And so we are just encouraging them to hang in there. We may be going through bitter days now, but Dominica, better days are ahead.
You know, you're saying that there, and I just sent that a note that I received this morning, and the response was, boy, wisdom from all around and in unexpected places. If you can identify the voice, let me know.
While people they say that is the mainstay of the economy, just shut down all water on us where we cannot get water to wash those wicked pollution. My brothers, it is not a right thing. Things are getting from bad to worse. So we must stand up in all powers that we have to see that things get better.
Oh boy, when I got that message this morning, I was like, wow.
Well,
wisdom from unexpected places.
Matthias Pelty, let me tell you something. Where you think people are not feeling the squeeze and where you think wisdom is not coming from or will not be coming from, then right here you have it. Everybody in Dominica in one way, shape or form, as I said, is feeling the pinch economically. And so that message of hope with the economy where we have to revive the agricultural sector. But Dominica is an agricultural-based country. No two ways about it. You throw a seed outside of there and in the next couple of months, it grows, it sprouts. And it will be a fruit. And so any government like this government that has not paid attention, adequate attention that is, to agriculture, is a government that is doomed / the country being doomed.
Let's take a few calls before, of course, we're here with Loftus Durand, the Public Relations Officer of the UPP. I'm here. Hello, talk to me.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to Lofty, and good afternoon to all Dominicans. Lofty, I asked this question to a seasoned politician, and the answer he gave me, I never agreed, but I did not debate. I'm going to ask you now. Lofty, since that process started, have you seen the electoral office? You know already why is anything good for the good of Dominica?
I think you have to repeat that question. You seem a little muffled. Can you take your time and ask?
Okay. I am asking Lofty, since the process started, have you ever seen the electoral office do anything for the good of Dominica people to register freely or confirm freely? I think the answer is no, so I can answer that. What I'm trying to ask Lofty today is that, do you believe that even though they say they're going to send people to Wana to register is not a trick? Everything these people does is a trick, you know. What they're going to do, let me tell you what they're going to do, Lofty. They are going to send these people at a time when everybody at work and put a closing date when everybody get back from work. Please, if it's not illegal, let us get together, pay the passages for the people, and let them go wherever they have to go to confirm. We can do it. Dominicans living abroad can help do it. Get a way to tell the people, listen, we will pay your passage, we will pay your lunch, go and confirm. Because if they do not confirm, Crapo, I'm not calling radio again at all. Crapo, smoke up.
I think it's basically saying we need to do more to get these people to confirm and don't take in the story that the Labour Party is giving, and it'll come to Warner to get these people confirmed. That's
Matt, and I want to agree that caller in that we as a people, we need to do more to help the people confirm, get in the process. A matter of fact, I wouldn't sit here and say that the electoral office / the commission have not done certain things. They did certain things to facilitate the process. What we are saying, they have not done enough.
Okay.
And so they need to step it up. But we need, for example, from the office end, put mobile systems on the road. Matt, during election time, we see once the bell has been rung, we see those systems on the road. So wherever those monies are coming from for elections to fool people into buying into their false narrative, they can do the same for the process. Put it in the north, put some in the south,
So
put some in all over the country.
A lot more can be done. That's your point.
Yes, bombard the people as to get confirmed, get in the process, get with the process. That to me can do well in terms of the people. They being helped in that direction. There's a number of elderly people who should be helped to get with the program. So there's much more work that needs to be done. And so that is what we encourage, we implore the office / the commission to get involved with.
Somebody says, I believe the thing that is also causing people to be disinterested or uninterested is going to confirm is the fact that person has to get a witness to go with them. This is such an inconvenience. Do you believe that, Rusty? You need somebody to go with you to confirm. Why just can't you bring your ID?
Well, at the end of the day, yes, some people find it to be a little onerous. I must accept, but that is part of the process, Matt, and it is getting somebody in your constituency to go through that process with you. So it is what it is. I mean to say, I wouldn't split hairs over that. It's just you have to find somebody, you have to know somebody in the constituency to get going and just get it done.
And what the person's point is not everybody that's willing, when asked, that would be willing to go as a witness, because they would have to leave their day's work, whether they work on a farm or in an office, or places like Warren and Mont Prosper. Where are their confirmation centers? These people now have to pay transportation fees to go to another area to confirm. How many people would be willing to be a witness for another over and over again by their own expense? You see, people are.
But yes, I understand what the person is saying. But at the end of the day, our duty, our job is to help people, encourage people to go through that process, and that is what we have been doing.
Okay, let's see if we can take a voice note here. Yes, we'll come back to the calls.
Matthew, as the man, if you think that would make a difference, that would make a huge, a massive difference at a very, very, very little cost. Maybe just to pay the staff, the people who doing the paperwork in every registration office at maybe less than $100,000. That would make a huge difference. Of course, just ban the whole thing. Once you ban it, everybody that died for 1,000 years, everybody that overstayed for 300 years, for 60 years, 70 years, that off. And everybody that want to register, they come right in Dominica, they register, and that's it. So that would make a huge difference. That's my piece.
He's talking about the clean list that you pointed to earlier. Yeah. But let's take another phone call. Because we're here until the 2:00 hour. Are you there? Yes?
Yes, I am, Matt. Good afternoon. Doctors, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Doctors, political parties are built on ideologies and philosophies. Can you tell me what philosophy or ideology of the UPP that would make somebody say it is more sound and more principled than the UWP, that a person would vote the UPP instead of the UWP? Second one, as a politician, anybody who seeks political office is seeking political office as a prospective minister, because we vote for people who are capable of running ministries. What ministry do you see yourself running with competence in Dominica? Thank you.
There's two big questions there, philosophy and you're looking forward. What ministry you think you can handle
Matthias Belti,
if you're elected into office?
Matthias Belti, let me thank this caller and other callers, that is, but more sufficiently so that caller always makes some very succinct points. In terms of the philosophy, ideology, vision, mission, whatever it is that he's asking about the United Progressive Party, first and foremost, let me direct that caller to the United Progressive Party's website.
Okay.
In that it is UPP, that is United Progressive Party .dominica.com. Right there. That caller and other people can see exactly what that caller asked. But in a nutshell, to answer that caller's question, the United Progressive Party stands for a much better Dominica than where we are now. We are saying together as a people, if we come together and deal with our issues, then this Dominica can be a much better country. We knew our Dominica where it was before. And so what a number of people have been going through in terms of the economic strain, the economic situation that I spoke of before, that is what the United Progressive Party is willing to fix or help fix in the interest of all of us moving forward. But we have a crime situation in Dominica whereby it seems as if that we are no longer this pristine little country, this safe and secure little country in the region that people used to run to. We have a social decadence in Dominica, whereby we know of a number of situations where persons who were once right up there in terms of the economic prowess or whatever it is, they have now been degraded or downgraded to a certain lifestyle that they could not, they were enjoying before. And so that and more, but primarily is making the lives of Dominicans better. Dominica deserves better, Matthias PLT. We have been at the crossroads forward, quarter century plus, and we are seeing every day in real time where we were and where we have been.
Do you think the United Progressive Party, as part of a team, can make the difference?
Matt, we are team player. All of us in the United Progressive Party, we are team players. And so, as I said before, even with single or we with a team with other opposition forces, we are prepared to not just talk, but put the words into action by making Dominica a much better country.
As we speak, Lofty, you know, a lot of people have concerns as to how many members will you be fielding if an election is called tomorrow? How many members would you be fielding to contest that election?
What I can tell you, Matt, no one holds the future, but the Almighty above. But we are work in progress. We have been on the ground doing the work. Politics is about hard work, Matthias.
I'm talking about tomorrow, if an election is called.
Well, if an election is called tomorrow, based on what we have been doing so far, we will have to put what have been done into action on the ground. So yes, we will do what we have to do. But I'll not sit here and tell you we're going to fill 21 seats or 15 seats or 2 seats. No, that we're doing the work. And when the opportune time presents itself, we will execute.
You know, somebody asked a question I don't think you have answered just far, because somebody said, if elected, just say if elected, they say if horses will, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Now, if elected into office, after somebody asked you, what ministry do you think that you might be capable, if handed one, in the future?
But a lot of people, when they think of politics, they think of a position. And that is where some of us have got it all wrong. The people of Dominica, Matt, deserves better. I cannot undervalue that statement.
So you're not thinking of a position right now.
And so the work must be done. There is the work that must be done to get rid of the cancerous Dominica Labour Party. And that is what we must all join hands, join hearts, join skills, join talents to do. Once that hurdle has been out of the way, then we can now sit around a table and decide in terms of, if you want to call it positions or whatever it is, in terms of the work ahead to help this country.
That is not your objective at this time.
Not presently, because if you have that foremost as your objective, you are misguided, because you'll be going in there with ill motives. You have to go in there with pure motives. And the motives that we at the UPP have, it is to help fix the lives of Dominicans. So if I come the matter and I tell you I want to be minister of X or minister of this or minister of that position, no. I would not be basically being a true representative of the people. I have to speak the people's language. And that is one of the things, Matthias Pelty, that I embrace. You see this lady in the Kalinago territory, Annette Sanford? That is one of her mantra. She says, and she keeps saying, I am there for my people. Whatever is good by my people, it is good for me. And so that is that is how you can identify a pure, a true politician or true person who takes care of the needs of people. The needs of people have to be foremost, not a position, not prestige. No, that will come. But the work needs to be done first. So on the contrary, I want to differ with the scholar about position. I'm not in it for position. I've been in this thing for 25 years, Matthias Pelty. And I know that Dominicans, we are suffering, and we have to do what we have to do to better our situation.
Are you there, caller? Sorry, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am there. Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
And Lofty, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. I heard you on the radio there. I'm calling from the Rose Valley constituency. And I assume if you have to go up, I assume that's the constituency you want to go up in, right?
Well, Oswald George, if I can identify you, because I know we have been foot soldiers on the ground. So I am doing the work of the people, as I said over the weekend, and wherever the people decide I should go, I will follow willingly. So right about now, Oswald, my foremost job, it is to help, with your help and others, to get rid of the cancerous Labour Party, and the rest will kick in.
I totally agree with you. But one of the concerns you need to highlight for sure, you can see that the Roseau Valley constituency, especially Wharton Waven, my brother, that's a tourist destination. And if you watch the main road, you know how we're suffering. And it is very disappointing that we have the finance minister, who is the PAL rep, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, my brother. And you know Wharton Waven contribute a lot to Dominica. And look at how we are struggling. You don't think that you need to put more pressure on Dr. Irvin McIntyre, the finance minister, to get that road done? Come on. We are suffering in Wharton Waven because of that.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask Oswald a question. So Oswald, why do you think the people of Wharton Waven keep voting back the Labour Party?
Well, the thing is, Wharton Waven is always half and half. It's in between, and the 20 votes the Labour Party get, we know what they do. Okay. They buy people. They buy, but they know they have to pass the money. You know, but it's very disappointing.
So have they won? Have they won that Hamlet for the past 2 elections?
Repeat yourself, say that again.
I said, have they won that Hamlet, Wharton Waven proper, for the past 2 constituencies, given your numbers?
Well, the numbers is always 20. The Labour Party always win by 20 votes in Wharton Waven for sure.
Okay. So
and we know why. All of us know why.
So you know, for the wrong reasons, right? You think?
Yeah. You know, so it's very disappointing. So then, Lofty give me some more pressure, and trust me, they have to really do a better job, because Dr. Irvin McIntyre is very disappointing, and he has the pulse of the country, and Wharton Waven is contributing a lot with all those tourist destinations, the guest house, Secret Glow Show, TRs, the PT Parody, Screws, everything, my brother, and it's disappointing, yeah?
True.
It's disappointing.
Let me just add to what my brother Ozzy said here, in that I live in the Valley constituency, so I know what Ozzy is talking about. And so, yes, I agree with him, line, hook, and sinker, in that the man who is the finance minister as we speak, Mr. McIntyre, is the power for the area. And so much more in terms of development now, road infrastructure and otherwise, should have been coming to the Valley constituency. The Valley constituency plays a key role in terms of the development aspect of the country. When you talk about fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, the flora, the fauna, the tourist site, and whatever it is, the glow show, whatever it is, give that to the Roseau Valley. And so a man who sits with the purse, as it were, I don't know if the purse is empty. I don't know if he's holding a poison chalice, but at the end of the day, he's in that position. And I would agree with Ozzy, much more in terms of deliverables now should be coming from Mr. McIntyre to that constituency.
4 minutes. I'm coming back on the same question that you posed. If the people decide that Lofty should run there on the ticket of the UPP for the Roseau Valley constituency, will you take up that offer?
But you just answered the question that I posed.
I'm asking you.
If the people decide, yes, I will willingly oblige.
Okay.
But at the end of
do you think you can make a difference there?
Sure. But I've been in that struggle with a number of different people like Ozzy and others. And don't underestimate Ozzy that just called there. That man, we went through the thick and thin and other people. I remember the good old days when we were really hitting the road hard. And so we have been in that struggle for a number of years. So when people like Ozzy and others speak, we know what we are talking about. And so it is not a Johnny come lately thing that there. We have been there, done that, and we are still prepared to execute. And so, yes, I know I can make a difference. Matt,
emphatically,
I have been waiting too long for other men and women who I think could have delivered on my behalf to deliver. And lo and behold, after 25, 30 years now, they have not done that. I am prepared to take the bull by the horn with others, that is, and help deliver my country, Tikubuli.
Tonight is your big meeting. You have 2 minutes to wrap it up.
Tonight, Matthew SPLT, all roads leads to Jimit, as they say in the advertisement world. And so I expect to see a number of people there. Those of you who will be making your way there, the meeting starts at 7 o'clock. And so those of you who know the UPP, those of you who know yours truly, we always try to stick to time. And so we are just in the area after the main road in that bus stop area. You take a right, and then the next right on Esprit Drive, and we'll be right there in the vicinity of the Convenience Plus area, bringing that message of hope to the Jimit people, to the Mao constituency, and Dominicans by extension. So join us there. Let your voice be counted. At the end of the day, your voice matter in the scheme of things.
Lofty, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew SPLT, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's about to change hands in Dominica. Jimit, it's your turn. The United Progressive Party, alongside political leader attorney Joshua Francis and solid playmaker Loftus Dumont. Solid lineup of speakers will be at Esprit Drive near the Convenient Plus Shopping Center, Thursday the 14th. Jimit comes alive from 7 p.m. Come hear the plans and look for a better Dominica, a better you, the United Progressive Party, the party of the people, by the people, for the people. Come out, Dominicans, join the forces with the United Progressive Party as we help rescue and restore, even bring back Dominica from the brink of abject destruction. 7 p.m. on Esprit Drive near the Convenient Plus store. Everyone will be in attendance. Don't miss your moment. Thursday coming, power must change hands. And the power is in your hands. All the way with the UPP massive whistle stop in Jimit, Thursday the 14th.
I'm not giving up. Today I never give up before.
Happy anniversary to Digicel. 20 years.
Celebrate, connect, and win 20 years with Digicel. Celebrating relentless connectivity across Dominica, and we're giving back to you with more prizes and surprises.
Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you have plenty. 20 years we rolling with Digicel. If you're not with us, then hear me well. I have my TV and still have my cell. I have my internet all from Digital. 20 years of reconnection. So pay attention.
Win with the VIP experiences. Brunch voucher 6 months. Bills free. Win more. Simple. Activate. Switch. Stay connected. Win. Visit your nearest Digicel store or speak to an agent today.
Turning 20, Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you are plenty. I say with Digi you can win. Celebrate, connect and win.
All right, Dominic, a very busy afternoon. We have 2 programs planned for the afternoon. You just heard Mr. Loftus Durand, the Public Relations Officer of the United Progressive Party. Now we're shifting gears. We're talking agriculture. And you know, for the past few sessions, we've been dealing with the disease affecting the coconut plants. And I think we're here to get an update. Let me allow our guest to introduce herself there on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Peltier. It's lovely to be back again.
Oh, good to have you.
And good afternoon to the listening public. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is mine.
Linessa Ferrara. Hope you all have not forgotten the name from Plant Protection and Quarantine.
Okay. So we just, of course, as I said, you know, we need to get an update as to what has gone on. You have about 2 sessions before.
Yes, I was.
Any serious progress has been have taken place since then?
Good progress. So I'm here today to remind the public of what the disease is, what they can do again, and in terms of updates, you want me to say that now or later?
We'll take it later. We'll take it later.
We can take it later.
All right. So
why not?
So give us tell us what has happened since you last left here.
Okay. So reminding the public of what the disease is. As was told before, and tell you again, the name of the disease is lethal yellowing disease. and it affects palms. It can cause, once the palm starts showing symptoms, it can cause rapid decline and death of palms within 3 to 6 months. So it's a serious disease we're dealing with. So what the ministry is doing about it is that we have continued to eradicate affected trees within the area where we've found it. That is from palm tree to Hodges. And we are continuing.
Not Calibishi, palm tree to Hodges.
Palm tree to Hodges. We are continuing surveillance for it. So we are doing surveillance for it from Calibishi, matter of fact, throughout the rest of the island.
Because I was in Calibishi recently, and I was basically letting my eyes ball my peas. I said, but nothing much has happened there in that community.
No, where the eradication is happening is concentrated more. We're creating a buffer around the red zone. I think I must have discussed that the last time I was here.
Repeat it again for us too.
So
just a reminder.
From the red zone was from palm tree to Hodges. So we started from palm tree and going all around the affected red zone. We have been cutting affected trees. So right now we are in Hodges, heading towards Woodford Hill, and that's what we're doing. We're continuing surveillance activities as well. So that requires that we are looking for any areas or new pop-ups. Extension is on the ground. Anytime they see something that looks symptomatic, we are contacted to investigate, to be able to say that the disease is actually somewhere. It requires investigation that includes molecular diagnosis. So
you have to conduct a test.
Yes. So we will not just say that because we see symptoms that it is it. We need to confirm with molecular diagnosis. So that work is continuing, as well as we are doing surveillance for the vector. Remember, the vector was this small leaf hopper. So we are installing sticky traps, different places throughout the island, where we can determine whether the vector is present or absent,
is that working?
and an idea of the population. Yes, it is working. For example, within the Woodford Hill village itself, we've installed traps, for example, on the station within the village, where we will get leaf hoppers. We got leaf hoppers on these traps. Whereas other places that we've installed, for example, Marigot, we've installed near the airport, we've installed in Calibishi and other places, we've not found the vector. So this is an indication.
So you're satisfied that it's working?
Yes. It's an indication of a indication of present absence of the disease as well. So we are doing work. We are on the ground. We are doing work. We are continuing to do work.
If there's a coconut tree that has not been affected in the same red zone, do you cut it down? So
remember the last time I was here, I mentioned that the disease can be in a tree for up to 7 months and not show symptoms. Taking that into consideration, the ministry have made a decision to destroy trees that are within the vicinity.
All trees.
So 100 to 300 meters from an infected tree could be a possible spread. So we made a decision that within the red zone, that we would destroy all trees. As we go along with this program, we continue to update our methods. We continue to make decisions. Sometimes things cannot be hard and fast, but definitely within that Woodford Hill area, we are destroying all trees.
Another question is, it sort of slipped me, that as you go, and I think I'll just rewind the tape here a bit. So here's a I'm just illustrating. Here's a tree, okay? So it needs to be 300 feet away before you destroy it, or after?
The disease could already have spread up to 300 meters
but
away.
You're not taking any chances.
No, we shouldn't. So initially, we are destroying all symptomatic, but we are also considering and have already started in certain areas destroying trees in the vicinity, even though they're not yet showing symptoms, the vicinity of those that are.
I got some information yesterday, and from a former forestry officer, who indicated to me that maybe this yellowing disease that you're talking about may have been brought in by the agriculture ministry itself. When you bought the plants, if I had the clip, I'd play it for you.
The last time I was here, we actually spoke about that.
You deny that.
Remember when I told you they brought in the Brazilian coconuts,
Right.
and we got them tested twice for the disease, and the test came back negative. So we cannot say that the disease is associated with that. What I did tell you was the disease was found, the concentration or where we believe it came through, because of where we saw most symptomatic trees was on the Woodford Hill beach.
Mhm.
So we believe that it may have come from one of the neighboring islands. Either a vector was brought in, an infected vector, or an infected plant brought in.
But categorically, you don't think it was brought in by?
No, because we tested the plants. They did not have Listeriola disease, and none are showing symptoms of this disease. Matter of fact, that actual variety is tolerant to the disease.
Okay, it's tolerant. Okay.
So it's actually one of those that we have to do research to see whether it could be an option for replanting. Yes.
So you'll start the replanting process when?
When we are able to select varieties that are tolerant, because as we now see, the varieties we have, even the Malayan dwarfs, which at one time was thought to be tolerant, they are all going down with the disease. So we must conduct research and see what varieties we have that are standing up to the disease that we can then propagate, or from other islands that they have varieties that are showing resistance or tolerance, then we can possibly introduce.
How many farmers?
It's not something that can be taken lightly, because you must take into consideration the threat. A risk assessment must be done if we are to bring in any more varieties. But we are looking at our own, any that may be standing up, like hybrids, crosses between dwarfs and talls, have been shown at times to show tolerance to the disease.
Now, give me some data. How many farmers you think thus far have been affected by this?
Over 800 farmers.
800?
Within that palm tree to Hodges, there are over 800 farmers. So, yeah, it definitely will affect livelihoods, and we don't want it to continue to spread, because even more livelihoods will be affected. So, the reason today I'm here, actually, and we wanted to highlight Listeriola again, on Tuesday was the International Day of Plant Health.
Okay.
And we wanted to then bring in again why protecting livelihoods. The theme was plant biosecurity for food security. Biosecurity includes preventing of these diseases from coming into the island, because the research data have shown that plant diseases can severely affect production, and we've seen it before our very eyes now with Listeriola disease. The disease can cause over 40% reduction in food production. This is the statistics from global statistics. So apart from this, we have other diseases dealing with, but this one we really do not want it to eradicate our industry, as I mentioned the last time I was here. So we are urging people, and soon there'll be big signs installed. They were already printed, billboard signs. So we're going to be installing them on the outskirts of the red zone and within the Woodford Hill village, urging and telling people that this is a quarantined area, and it requires that you do not move planting material from these areas anywhere else.
Do you think that you've been successful in that exercise?
We have not seen the disease pop up anywhere else so far, although when I mentioned to you that it can be 7 months latent. And we are, hopefully the public awareness is getting to persons, because I've been on the radio, many times, and not just here, everywhere else. Another thing that we are looking at to implement, it's not yet implemented, but it's the installation of checkpoints on the outskirts of these zones, of the red zone, to help prevent spread of these plants, infected plants. Another thing that person needs to be vigilant about is even the hitchhiking of the leafhopper. I personally had the experience twice, where when we went for surveillance, we would find leafhoppers within the vehicle.
Really?
Having a tray in the eye, we detected it, and we were able to capture them, and then we spray them inside the vehicle with alcohol. There are different things you could use. So we are asking persons to be vigilant. Even when with your daily movement, hopefully you remember that If you see any insect within your vehicle, kill it, make it go out.
Mhm.
You may not necessarily be able to identify the leafhopper,
What,
but
what,
this
what, what does
can be a means of spread.
what does it look like so somebody can identify?
I suspect I may have to send you a picture so you could post it.
Yeah.
So what it is a very very small leafhopper, 3 to 5 millimeters.
Mhm.
So it's really very small.
Like your nail?
More or less like your nail. It has this yellowish color. The males have this bright green abdomen though. So it's one of the means by which we identify it easily as trained
Mm.
technicians. So anybody who wants to see what it looks like can look for the name on the internet. It's Haplaxia scrotus, HAPLAXIUS.
Take your time. Somebody wants to write.
HAPLAXIUS. Second name Crudus, CRUDUS.
Mm.
So you could see what it looks like if you were to Google that name, and it's very small.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
No. Tell us what you guys have been doing to. Of course, before I ask the question, let's take another phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to Ms. Shirara.
Yes.
Pleased to hear the update and the progress that has been done so far. I know I have touched base with her, and it may be time to review the strategy because, with those kind of a progressive disease, you need to now and then rethink strategy to combat that particular disease because
Mhm.
she said you can have infected trees and do not see the symptoms of it. And the best approach was to undertake a reverse extraction strategy. That simply means that you have your buffer zone and you start cutting from the buffer zone backwards into the disease area. So you extract all those ahead of the disease, both health, what appear healthy, a decision has to be made, what appear healthy as well, because as she said, it may have the disease up to 7 months and it may not show any symptoms. So the safeguard really is to take that change in strategy, change in approach, so that you can, put a halt to the forward spread of the disease. I just trust and hope that the powers that be, in terms of seeing the need for that kind of work and make the resources available, because I'm learning from on the ground that there are hiccups transportation-wise and in terms of resources for the men that are doing the extraction, of the team that doing the extraction. All those things need to be ironized so that, the process can...
You sound like somebody with some experience. We try to basically, dig and find out. Would you know where she identified something must have come in there from the Woodford Hill area? Somebody else is indicating that maybe it was carried through the Chinese trucks. Would you dare to, of course, come to that conclusion that it came in from
Not necessarily, because with those kind of a disease, what I used to be with the ministry, you get all kind of strange things happening. At one point in time, I was acting head of quarantine, and you intercept persons coming from overseas, bringing in all sorts of stuff. For example, a person may come out overseas, bringing a plant that they take from Guadeloupe. And ridiculous as it may sound, coming with a bag of soil, like we do not have soil in Dominica, coming with a bag of...
You said soil?
Yes, soil, tear. Coming in with a bag of soil, and trying to ascertain them from why. That is the kind of soil it is growing in. So these are the kind of things. When you get movements of those diseases, it not necessarily have to be from the trucks. The trucks, yes, can contribute if it come out from a particular disease area and come in with it. But the truck by itself will not be to see, especially if the truck came in from a country that had the disease and it was not properly disinfected and so forth. Yes, but then it travels from Roseau to come all the way up to Woodford Hill. You would first have seen it somewhere down south before it reached that particular area. For example, when we had the Tristeza virus and even the HLB, what they call Wang Long Bin, which affects our citrus, the first place we saw that Wang Long Bin, lo and behold, was by the Cabrits. when the Cubans came down, because the Cubans came down, we were invited here to assist us in terms of our shoot tip grafting as a method of combating the disease and introducing, saving some of the good quality citrus varieties that we had. We solicited the assistance from the Cuban. And in taking them out, you know, to the different areas, we went by the cabbage just to bring them to, you know, just as a little tour up to see some of our scenic spots in Dominica. And here she's saying to me, Blanford, look, the disease there. Here is it, right there. So, and that was where we cited it. Now look at cabbage. You know, you're talking about cabbage when you enter the first area where they have the big wall. That included, there was a lime tree right there. That's the first place we saw visible sign of citrus green. Don't add the cabbage, you know. So it can be movement of material. Somebody may have bringing a material, a coconut plant, you know, a coconut, necessarily a coconut plant, because as she said, it affects palms and other palm species of plants. So it not necessarily have to be a coconut plant that it was brought in onto. It could be from a palm. It could be, you know, one of those species that harbor that particular disease. So it is difficult to just pinpoint and say it is because of X, it is because of Y. More investigation has to be done so that to come to a conclusion. But I would just like to commend her for the effort and her team that she have on the ground, Franklin and the rest of the team. Under trying circumstances, they're doing the best that they can. And I just want to continue to give her the support and echo my concern from the powers that be to ensure that the resources are made available so that we can contain that particular disease in that particular area. And the only way that we can do it is to provide the team with the resources, the equipment and resources. She said she's getting collaboration from the extension department. All hands have to be on deck. Extension, forestry, the farmers, the police, the community at large. That is the only way we can put a control and halt the spread of that particular disease and keep it in that particular area. So everybody has to get on board.
Thank you. Now, somebody on Facebook is asking me to ask this young lady. Ask the young lady, why is the disease only in the Wesley area? Bottom line is that the massive land movement in that area. There's massive land movement, the person is indicating. So why is it focused in that area?
Mm-hmm. First, let me say thank you to Mr. Blanford for calling in.
Yes.
All the assistance is always appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
No, remember I just mentioned what I can say is what we saw.
Okay.
That the disease was first seen to be concentrated, or it seems to have been introduced from the bay at Woodford Hill. Because that's where we saw the first symptomatic trees, set of symptomatic trees, and most advanced symptomatic trees. So as to how the actual story, I cannot see.
You cannot speak to
I
that.
didn't see it happen, so I cannot say.
But you said the Woodford Hill Bay, that's where it started.
That's where we saw the first set of symptomatic trees and where the most advanced symptomatic trees were. So this lends to that it could have possibly been brought in through illegal entry from that beach.
All right, let's see if we can take a voice note. So we have a lot more questions for you, but let's allow a little interaction here this time. Let's see. Where are you this time? Yeah.
I don't know if I missed out on the young lady's presentation, but I would like to ask her, apart from eradication of the trees within the buffer zone that she stated, is there any control method by using aerial spraying? And if so, what pesticide or what insecticide can they use for controlling by aerial spraying? Because I know aerial spraying has a lot, or can reach far more rich in places than just cutting the trees. If you have aerial spraying, it helps a lot.
Okay.
Back to you. Yes.
Yes. So there are multiple things. Research have shown that pesticide applications is not the most effective way of controlling the disease. Matter of fact, spraying cannot control the disease. Rather, what it can control is the vector of the disease. So you can use various pesticides, organophosphates, What is the other category? Things like Caprid, Protector. There are various insecticides that can work against the vector. And actually, it is part of the implementation, part of the management that we do. After the trees are cut, we spray the area where the trees fall to ensure that any that were on the trees will not go far. And it is actually one of the things that we want to implement even more so. But pesticide application is a two-edged sword. It can be positive, but it can also have negative environmental impact. So we need to be very careful of that. Matter of fact, we are even looking at possible safer means of controlling the vector. But the disease itself cannot be controlled with the use of pesticides, because I guess I should have explained all about the disease again before we spoke on what we are doing.
Yeah.
There are persons who may not know.
I
But the
understand.
disease is a phytoplasma. So it's bacteria-like. It's found within the system of the plant. Once the plant has it, there's nothing you can do to prevent it from spreading, from killing the plant eventually. There is, as I mentioned the last time I was here, there is an antibiotic that you can inject the palm with. But it is an antibiotic that is also used in humans and animals. And therefore, there is also the risk of microbial resistance. So it's not something that is being recommended for use in coconuts that we consume. Rather, it can be a possibility for ornamental palms to assist with slowing down the disease, but it still doesn't cure it or prevent the palm from eventually dying.
Before you continue, let's take a voice note there.
Matt, I think the authorities, just an idea, the authorities should post an actual and visual image. They should have it going viral on post. Continue to to stick them, on posters, make posters, so that people could get a visual awareness of what the creature looks like or the insect looks like, and medical literature under just something that people can adapt to real quick, so that people can be more vigilant on identifying the creature by standard. So that needs to be promotion in terms of awareness needs to be put in place to have that erected on the poles, throughout the different villages, and as far as I'm concerned, the entire country. But more so concentrated on the areas that are affected, so more people can be vigilant to try to work alongside the forestry division, plant division, whatever, to try to eradicate that pest. Just an idea, because
I think it's a good idea, though.
Yes, it's a good recommendation, which means we need to do more, because that means people are not seeing what we've already done. Because we've created multiple public awareness materials already, including posters and leaflets. That just means we need to print more and install them various places around the island. And so, yes, we will take that consideration. We will take that recommendation into consideration. That's definitely, and we've already, if you go on the internet now, we should be seeing a lot of publications from us on our Facebook page, on the Ministry of Agriculture website. So, but we will take that recommendation. Yes.
Let's take another phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes, just a follow up. What caller called previously and talk about aerial spraying. Even if aerial spraying was one of the methods that could be used, it would be difficult to undertake aerial spraying in an area like Woodford Hill and the wide area in which you see the disease, because of the fact that you get the particles are dispersed fine, and you will get it drifting into your water source, contaminate your water source, the water, the streams and everything else, and it will also go on crops that you do not intend for the spray to affect, like vegetables and other crops that will be grown in the area. So aerial spraying on our whole is a no-no. We used aerial spraying when we had bananas, a lot of banana plantation and so forth, and we still had some of those same concerns and same problems because of contamination of the waterways and so forth. So it is not a proper control strategy to deploy.
All right, caller, thank you. I think I have another call on my cell phone. Let's see if we can get caller, are you there? Yes.
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Go ahead.
There. Yeah, thank you very much. Question to the young lady.
Okay.
She said that there's a possibility that the disease may come from neighboring island. Now, we speaking about Woodford Hill.
and the neighboring country there from Woodford Hill is Marigaland and Guadeloupe listed as well. And seeing that they're taking that into consideration, there is a possibility, as they've done their research, whether that disease is in Marigaland and Guadeloupe, because if they are assuming, which they are not certain, but they are assuming it can come from neighboring countries there, at least neighbor to Woodford Hill then on a whole. And I want to say to her there that I am not impressed in the approach.
Okay.
I think more money is supposed to be made available, because the two little team they have in Woodford Hill there, I see they might take till on 2030 to even eradicate Woodford Hill alone. And if that disease is such of a magnitude that is so dangerous and vulnerable to our economy, I find they dragging feet. I not sugarcoating anything. I have to tell it to her as it is.
Yeah.
She's trying. She's doing that good work. But it's like they don't even leave Hodges as yet, and they may be even going to approach. When I called her right when she was on the program, I'm not taking much then. I called her all the way from Guadeloupe, and I come down, passing in the village. Even as you enter in the village, I seen so many coconut trees that is affected. Most probably they're trying to use a strategy from Hodges' point of view and Wesley point of view to see if they can curve in. But it's not. It's too much. It's not. Is enough. Is not being done, and they would have to maybe strategize again and come better. And think I have more questions, but I know time is of the essence. You need with you for half an hour.
You can ask. You can ask your questions. You're on the radio now. You might miss the opportunity. So ask the questions you want to ask.
And then
yes,
my friend. All you need to put more teams on the ground. Like I said, my voice is known. I have worked in that field, and I'm not impressed as to the approach point of view. More can be done, and better can be done in approaching that thing. And then if 7 months sometimes you take to detect, I'm convinced, I'm saying so convincingly, that it is already beyond Woodford Hill. It is already in Calibishi going. It is already in Wesley going. So a little suggestion as well, if it can be possible, or you may have to eradicate out of the buffer zone to a certain extent there. I'm not saying all of Wesley, I'm not saying all of Calibishi, but around the buffer zone, or you may have to look at in eradicating as well, because the plant may look healthy, as you say, and then it maybe can only detect within 1 month to 7 months. Yeah, so that is something that all you have to look at and maybe take into consideration as to preventing it to reach further. Thank you for now.
All right, thank you. Yep.
I appreciate your opinion and what you said.
He's saying a lot more has to be done. Given what he saw on the ground, he's not impressed.
I respect his opinion.
You respect his opinion?
Yes.
You agree?
We are working on increasing the teams. Matter of fact, as of this week, next week, there are additional men joining the team. But everything takes time and resources.
All right, thank you very much. Somebody says, yes, huh?
Something I wanted to add.
Right.
When the person spoke about the aerial spraying,
Mhm.
what persons can do to assist us with preventing the vector? Because when I was there the last time, I also mentioned, this time I'm giving the information, peace.
Mhm.
Part of the life cycle of the pest is within the root zone of grasses. So for 6 weeks, it develops within the root zone of grasses. So one of the management strategies is weed control. So that is one of the things that farmers and persons within the zone, the red zone, could assist with management of the vector, just merely by managing the grass in the area. And also if they are able to, because the thing with our coconuts here, they are so tall. Sometimes spraying is not the most effective method. And as was mentioned by the caller, I think Mr. Blandford again, aerial spraying, we have to think of the environmental risk. So they can assist by doing their own spraying if possible, by weed management, and most importantly, by not spreading the disease through movement of material.
On the telephone, yes.
Good afternoon. Don't know if this question has been asked and answered yet, but I think some weeks ago they were indicating that the Woodford Hill beach is off limits. Is that still the situation?
It's recommended that there be as least traffic as possible through the red zone. And that's the reason why during the, Easter, we were recommended that persons do not visit the beach, because the more people are there, the more likely the disease. Yes, you could carry a vector also with you. We still are encouraging that persons try to limit the movement on the beaches as much as possible.
All right, let's take another voice note there. The numbers are coming in there. Are you there, caller?
Matt, the lady's trying to dismiss that this could have come from the Chinese truck. Matt, the Chinese eat anything, so they could bring them bugs there to eat anyway, and it just happened. One just happened to escape. The Chinese, it can be from China. So I don't want her to dismiss the idea. It could have been from China.
Well, I'm getting your point, but that's speculation. No, you're saying it could be from China. It could be from China. She said, based on what she saw on the ground, it may have come from somebody else. Somebody might say it came from another country as well. So,
are you able to pull up a picture from a PowerPoint presentation today on the screen? Is that possible?
I'll ask my technician. Maybe that might be possible.
Because I could actually show a picture of what it is. Actually, I have a presentation later today in Postman.
Somebody sent me a picture of it, but I can't. In my camera's focus, maybe, but I'll try to talk to my technician to see if we can do something. We're gonna come back talking yellow disease when we come back, affecting coconut trees in Dominica. Yeah.
It's about to change hands in Dominica. Jim it, it's your turn. The United Progressive Party, alongside political leader attorney Joshua Francis and solid playmaker Loftus Dumont, solid lineup of speakers will be at Estes Drive near the Convenient Plus Shopping Center Thursday the 14th. Jim it comes alive from 7 p.m. to hear the plans and look for a better Dominica, a better you. The United Progressive Party, the party of the people, by the people, for the people. Come out, Dominicans, join the forces with the United Progressive Party as we help rescue and restore, even bring back Dominica from the brink of abject destruction. 7 p.m. on Estes Drive near the Convenient Plus store. Everyone will be in attendance. Don't miss your moment. Thursday coming, power must change hands. The power is in your hands. All the way with the UPP massive whistle stop from Jimmy Thursday the 14th.
I'm not giving up. Today I never give up before. Happy anniversary to Digicel. 20 years. Celebrate, connect, and win. 20 years with Digicel, celebrating relentless connectivity across Dominica, and we're giving back to you with more prizes and surprises.
Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you have plenty. 20 years we rolling with Digicel. If you're not with us, then hear me well. I have my TV and still have my cell. I have my internet all from Digicel. 20 years of reconnection. So pay attention.
Win with the right ultimate VIP experiences. Brunch voucher, 6 months, bill free. Win more. Simple. Activate, switch, stay connected. Win. Visit your nearest Digicel store or speak to an agent today.
All right. Now it's 2:41. I'm just getting a note there from a doctor. That's all I'm gonna say. And he said there to me, man, some scientists have hypnotized that the yellowing disease may have ancient origins in the Southeast Asia because resistant coconut varieties are found there. That does not mean China recently introduced the disease into Dominica. However, the Chinese in that area of Dominica are allowed to bring whatever they want to the island. So this is a doctor talking, a scientist talking to me at this time. So don't rule it out. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to the young lady you have in the studio with you.
Yes.
Matt, I joined the program a bit late, but I just want to ask a question because I have a concern. She said, I don't know how many teams they have on the ground, but I do not know how they are tackling. I just wanted to tell us how they are tackling the disease because if you have a red zone on both sides, are they tackling it from both angles and then coming to the center? Or have they started in the center and going out?
No.
Yeah.
Exactly how we said it. Out, in.
Out, in?
On both sides.
And another report that indicate that there are no reported yellow diseases, the yellow disease in Marigaland. So it's not come from Marigaland. Where have you actually
It's not reported for Marigaland. It's reported for Guadeloupe.
Where have you identified the disease? In Jamaica?
It's throughout the region, actually. It's St. Kitts, it's Antigua, it's Cayman Islands, it's Jamaica. It's already widely distributed, Guadeloupe, distributed throughout the region, Caribbean.
All right. Let's take a phone call because she has to leave in a minute. She has to go to Portsmouth. It's a hard-working young lady there, educating the public. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Hello, good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon to you and your guests.
Yes, good afternoon to you, my brother.
Matt, the disease is of a great concern to us in the Woodford Hill catchment area. As you very well know, I live in the vicinity of the Woodford Hill beach, and we suffer great losses as a result of the death of the coconut trees in the area. But Matt, the wider Woodford Hill community are very concerned. They are willing to cut down the coconut trees to get rid of the disease. But they are very concerned that the government is not prepared to compensate them for the plants. I mean, we all say this government boasts that agriculture is a business, and agriculture is a business. There are a lot of farmers that depend on jelly nuts for their livelihood, Matt. So the biggest challenge, in my view, that is causing the disease to continue to spread is the failure or inability of government and the Ministry of Agriculture to come up with a package to compensate the farmers for their potential losses. I, for example, have several coconut trees and palm in my possession on my estate. But I am not prepared to cut it down and then I'm going to have to purchase jelly nuts to drink without a little compensation, or not even plants within the next 6, 8 months, 10 months, 2 years after the disease is eradicated. Because we must remember, especially persons living in the Wesley catchment area, where the government went into people's holdings, your garden, cut down your line in your yard, and not even a citrus plant, not one was given to the farmers that suffer those losses. So we are willing to cooperate with the government and the Ministry of Agriculture, but they have to remember that agriculture is a business and they must give the farmer something for their crops. Thank you very much.
Very serious comment there. Because I heard you spoke earlier of livelihood, so you're supporting livelihood. So what is the government doing about that?
He's right. I respect his opinion because the government is aware of the impact on livelihoods, but we're also aware of the seriousness of the disease. And even without compensation, the disease might still kill his trees. But the government is developing a package. Remember the last time I was here, I spoke of that. I may not be in an opinion to tell you what the package is yet.
In the position to.
In a position to see what the package is yet. I do not have that information as yet. But we were assured by the minister at a press conference that a package will be developed for the farmers of the Woodford Hill and the area affected where trees are being
In terms
cut.
of timeliness, you don't know that.
In terms of time and exactly what the package is, I don't have that information. But we are assured that something is being developed by the government.
Let's wait and see. Now let's just run over the list that we should know at this before our next
Yes, so
session.
just a reminder of what the disease is again.
Mhm.
It's a phytoplasma formed within the system of a plant. Basically, once the plant has it, the tree will die. There's nothing much you could do about it. So what we are trying to do is to prevent the spread throughout the island so that we do not lose our coconut industry totally. So please do not move any planting material from palm tree to hedges. Do not be mindful of when you're in the area that you do not hitchhike. A vector do not hitchhike on your clothing or your bag, etc. As least movement as possible for the area is the best advice. Even the movement of soil and grasses and debris is also something that we advise against because of same thing, the vector could hitchhike. The disease symptoms, just to remind the public. So as I said, the disease can be in a plant for up to 7 months or more and not show any symptoms. But once it starts expressing itself, the first symptom you will see is the immature nut fall. So regardless of the size of nut on the tree, be it the very young or be it the old, it sheds the nuts with this typical water-soaked lesion around the head where it detached from. The next symptom would be the death of the flowers. So even the youngest flowers you will see getting black from the very tip going in. Next, you will find the yellowing of the leaves from the oldest to the youngest, with eventual death of the spear leaf of the coconut. Then the whole head of the tree will fall off, leaving a telephone post. So it's a serious disease, and we just want persons to remember that, and we do not want it to spread island-wide. So please, everybody, help us, do your part to prevent this disease from spreading.
Well, the next time you hear about the compensation for the farmers,
Hopefully next time I'm here, I can tell you about that.
thank you very much. We'll be looking
Yes.
forward to that. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Mrs.
for having
Ferrara.
me.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Safe drive to Portsmouth. Thank you. Our guests have left the building, and let's see if we can take a few more voice notes. Yes.
Thanks for reading out that second person voice note, because that's exactly what I was trying to tell you. But you didn't finish my voice note. You cut it short, and it was telling you that the Chinese, they allow them to come to Dominica with anything, and they do not search them. So it's a possibility. That's where it comes from.
I would like to commend Ms. Ferrara for the information shared and the timeliness of an update. So please, Ministry of Agriculture, farmers are concerned they have not been compensated thus far. Matt, I live in the so-called red zone area of the coconut crisis. I called, said the department is dragging their feet. And this guy is very right. I attended a meeting in Woodford Hill recently, and the farmer who first saw it said he reported it in May 2025. The Director of Agriculture said at the meeting he was only made aware in January 2026. So think of that. I'll repeat that comment. I live in the so-called red zone of the coconut crisis. A caller said that the department is dragging their feet, and he's very right. I attended a meeting in the Woodford area recently, and the farmer who first saw it, he reported it in May 2025. The Director of Agriculture at the said meeting said he was only aware in January 2026. That's a serious statement here. No, we have to ask the question. How far as this yellow disease spread around Dominica. Given just what we've been told.
Good afternoon, Matt. Matt, this young lady is just dodging, and I don't know who she came there to protect. First of all, on her investigation, Matt, she's supposed to investigate, Matt. Matt, the project, as you know, the airport is being built and everything. Matt, remember when Samuel Johnson, who is said he's running the management aspect of this airport, which he doesn't even know what he's talking about and doesn't even know where he is presently. Because I'll say that, Matt, to say that. Because you cannot tell me you have to have an environmental impact study to know what species, what you find there, what is there, that is what they were telling them all along. If they had done that, Matt, at least they would know, okay, that insect is there, this is there, that is there. So when things are being brought on site, Matt, remember we're taking things from overseas, Matt. So when it comes from overseas and reach there, Matt, and we see something strange, we can say that was not there. But then that is the thing about this administration. Is an airport, but you'll get the airport, you're going to get the airport. But after the airport, we will see. Thank you.
Are we going to come back, Dominica, after this?
Dominica, not every link is a win. You see that text saying I win a free phone? I almost clicked it, we.
Man, my cousin fell for that same thing last week and all his money gone just so.
Scammers are trying to move smart, but you can stay smarter. Before you click, check the sender's email, check for spelling mistakes, and make sure the link starts with HTTPS, which shows it's secure. If it looks suspicious, don't click, delete it. Think, check, then click. That's the cyber smart way, and together we're building a cyber smart Caribbean. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think Card TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
$5, one jackpot. Your chance to win starts only $10,000. Boom, boom, boom. Dominica's very own jackpot is here. 5 big, 5 match 5. Win big, match 5.
On Creole Headband. This Friday, May 15th on Q95 FM from 10:45 a.m. We feature Clement Baba Richards, one of Dominica's cultural stalwarts. With a background of over 40 years in the cultural trenches, Clement Baba Richards now focuses on writing, which has always been one of his greatest passions. He is now a published author of 2 books under his belt, including Indian Water, Son of Two Worlds, published last October.
His first publication, Indian Warner, recounts the story of a man in St. Kitts of a Kalinago mother from Dominica and an English father. He stood between 2 worlds in the turbulent Caribbean of the 17th century, raised in the shadow of the British Empire, yet tied by blood to an island people fighting for survival. He became both bridge and lightning rod, diplomat and warrior, and ultimately victim of betrayal.
And sea wolves in warm waters. The U-boat battle in the Caribbean, which was officially launched last week on May 5th at the University of the West Indies Open Campus.
And his second book, Sea Wolves in Warm Waters, focuses on a more recent component of Caribbean history and explores what occurred when German U-boats invaded the region during World War II.
Hosted by Ambassador Prince Wax. Join us on Friday, May 15th on Q95 FM from 10:45 a.m. as we celebrate and support the work of Clement Baba Richards, a committed cultural warrior of Whitey Kumuli.
If after reading this book, even a few people could say, I did not know this happened here, but now I do, then Seawolves in Warm Waters will have done some of the work I wrote it to do.
Mouvement Créole assure tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique et puis Radio QFM qui a présenté Mouvement Créole. Tous les mardis soirs au 6 après-midi. Information, blague, interview, l'histoire, problème, discussion, reportage, apprendre à parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement Créole. Nous fait un rendez-vous, messieurs, tous les mardis soirs. QFM qui est frappé avec bon parole créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous? Rapidement, tu m'as là. Mouvement Créole à seconde station QFM. Voici avec nous tous les mardis soirs 6h pour Mouvement Créole. Matchez ça.
Improvement, building supplies for you. Kitchen appliances, even home decor too. Lumber, lawn, all your garden supplies. Plumbing, welding, electrical supplies. Visit Do It Center at the former J. Nassif Hardware location on Goodwill Road. Call us at 255-6890. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Happy anniversary to Digicel. 20 years.
Celebrate, connect, and win 20 years with Digicel. Celebrating relentless connectivity across Dominica, and we're giving back to you with more prizes and surprises.
Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you have plenty. 20 years we rolling with Digicel. If you're not with us, then hear me well. I have my TV and still have my cell. I have my internet all from Digicel. 20 years of real connection. So pay attention.
Win with experiences. Brunch vouchers 6 months. Build free. Win more. Simple. Activate. Switch. Stay connected. Win. Visit your nearest Digicel store or speak to an agent today.
Turning 20, Digital in 20. If you with Digicel, then you are plenty. I think with Digi you can win. Celebrate, connect and win.
Tomorrow I'll be back, if God is willing, on the hot seat. Until then, so long, everybody.
When I look around the world, what do I see? I see footprints that you man have left on the side by walking through time. I see shapes of our ambition, figments of our imagination, and I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? There's plenty to see. Universally, this land is not bountiful as it was. Simply because in this quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. Oh, river, try. Soon the birds won't fly, the mountains will be no longer high. And when I really think of it, yes, I just wonder why. Why? I see charity deplored, when light totally ignored. Wisdom and ingenuity walking in accord, sending people afford. But it mentions as thermonuclear warfare and environmental warfare. And I wonder now, where do we go from here? Habits everywhere. Days upon the horizon, and the cloud of judgment will come. And the savage hands of unscrupulous men defile everything passed by.